Night and day are catching hell. People think I'm doing well just because I sing a few calypso. But that is my misery. Calypso don't make money, but most of them don't know that I have my axe to grind, just like any other man, existing in poverty and this giant ghetto land. But I intend to hang on. Tell them for me no dice. I ain't gonna eat lice. I ain't gonna grow old, sitting in the cold, not me. No way, they gonna have to beat me.
Well, let me say a very special greetings to you who have chosen to participate in our social media Unity Roundtable discussion. And we're here for yet another Sunday, and I'm more than happy and willing to headline today's episode and to continue doing so for as long as it is necessary and possible for me to continue doing so. And Shut Shut, that's a very interesting song, which just makes a lot of sense. You know, sometimes you get the feeling as if people would rather if you didn't appear. When you don't appear, it's a problem. When you appear, it's a problem. It means that it's very hard to please, you know, the in-group. There is a particular group of commentators, political commentators, social commentators who sort of have the ideal as to how things should be, and they sort of promote that and push that. But again, from the comfort of their anonymity, the space of comfort and safety, which I assumed once, because I was told that the way to go is to stay and rule from the back, and you know, and I kind of foolishly did that and realized it didn't make sense. And now I am leading from the front, and I sort of still get a feeling as if probably I should wait. We should wait. We should sort of wait until everybody's ready, and then we do what everybody thinks that should be done. Well, my speech at Kalibishi a few Sundays ago, like 3 Sundays ago, was Dominica cannot wait. Because Dominica really honestly cannot wait for everybody to say, well, I'm ready, let's go. It always takes 1 or 2 sometimes to begin the race, and then others who are part of the race will eventually join in terms of the actual race. But I must say to the wonderful people of Dominica that there is a huge groundswell of support for our movement. We speak with many people. Just a while ago, I was speaking to one of those individuals. And earlier today, one of those individuals called me. If Dominicans knew the kind of engagements that we have, they would be very pleased with what is coming in terms of Team Unity. I got a call from a brother today, whom if you listen to his pontification a few months ago, you would not believe he was not my worst enemy. But that is what I am able to do, to work with people, even if people come at me, but to still embrace individuals. And as the self-declared leader of the message of Team Unity Dominica, I will continue to lead that message until the other messengers are strong enough and ready to assume their rightful positions. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to be here again, to be part of this Team Unity effort, and to remind you that there are many voices who you will be hearing and faces that you will be seeing as part of this progressive, united approach to rescue our country politically. We believe that we are the group of individuals and the people have been clamoring to come to surface. But in the opening salvos, the few of us who have taken on the mantle will continue to message, and sooner rather than later, I believe everything will come in place. And the doubters, if there are any, will realize that we come from a solid constitutional foundation, and our message is geared at unity and progress, and that we can only grow from here. So once again, welcome to another episode of the Team Unity Roundtable. I will be joined by my dear brother and friend Carlos, who is also producing. The format of today's program is to continue on the message of our leadership, how ready we are for leadership. And Carlos warned me that there are a few questions that we may have to address. And I'm more than willing to address those questions on behalf of the team. As soon as Carlos is prepared with the questions, I'll go ahead and deal with the questions. But let me just welcome my brother and say good afternoon, greetings to you, Carlos. It's nice to have you share this platform again. And I look forward to our very brief engagement. We'll be together for about 50 minutes more, and I'm looking forward. That time runs very quickly. So let's hope we get most of what we need to get out to the people today. Welcome, my dear brother.
Welcome, bro. First of all, I just want to thank the overwhelming support of friends and family members who have been supporting my family in this ongoing medical issue that my dad has. Right now, he's okay, but he still has to do surgery. I'll be back in our sister Isle, possibly sometime this week, so he can do his scheduled surgery, and he'll be back on his feet, proper, good and proper, back doing his things that he normally does. Yes, another Team Unity roundtable discussion. Professor Bruno, nice to be in your company once again. We have a lot of questions for persons who want to know what the mission is about, what the movement is about, what our plans, with our topic today being ready to lead. How serious the party is in taking on the mantle of leadership in the country, and what plans we have to move the country forward. So that'll just be my opening.
Yeah, man.
I'll bring the questions to you now, one after the other. We have a few questions.
No problem, partner. So now, from your end, because you meet and interact with different people, I do as well. From your end, how do you think people are receiving our message? Although we speak in caucus and we know that it is overwhelming, people can't even wait. But is there anything that you think the public is thinking that I should know publicly so we can deal with it publicly or not? Or movement concerned?
Well, by and large, the feeling for movement overwhelming is massive. I mean, persons have been meeting me on a one-on-one. So, Carlos, politics boy, Carlos, why even put yourself in that, boy? You have a small business, boy. You should think of that. And my response to them, by and large, I have been facing that all my life. In for a penny, in for a pound. And if I see the country is going further and further deeper into an area where it might be more difficult to correct the direction and put us back onto a course where we can be satisfied and happy. I had to take the plunge. I may or may not be a candidate. You never know. But for now, my mission is to get the movement together and work with all like-minded persons who want to get things going. We have all the founders such as Brother Kenton, Brother Erwin, Sister Kendra, and all other members who work with us in the background, give us the energy to keep going. Just want to say good afternoon to our viewers, one of which has just made a comment. Good afternoon, Mr. Macpherson Honorary. I think you are in Nevis. You are Dominican living overseas. So thank you for viewing with us, and engaging us on one-on-one when you get time. Yes. So Alex, one of the questions persons have been asking and commenting on is that they see Alex all the time. So, I mean, I know that was a problem in times past, but why is it a problem now? and they see the party as being an Alex party. But if Alex is a member of the movement, and if he's a leader of the movement, why not? The Dominican Labour Party is looked at as a scary party, even though the other members all function in their various capacities, but they are leading the country. So probably you can comment on that in your own way. I mean, I have my own way of looking at it, but others have their other ways of looking at it. What works, what may not work for Dominica, that kind of thing. Probably you can chime in on that.
Yeah, okay, well, that's interesting that anybody would say that, because I have always been a behind the scenes person when it comes to active electoral politics. In fact, I have never spoken directly about politics like that, in terms of taking a side and trying to mount a narrative. I have instead settled to give subtle advice, strategize where I can or could, and to lend support quietly. But that, as you said, is not working for me anymore, because after doing so for how long and realizing that there's very little progress in the areas I think we should, I decided to step up, just like you. But Carlos, I am not you and you're not me. You are more technical. I am more, when it comes to, I guess we call it academically proactive, because that is
theoretically
proactive. That's my area. You called me professor a while ago. I am a professor, credentialed to teach the discipline that we're talking about. So if I'm part of it, if I'm leading it in a way, who are you supposed to hear? But other people will eventually be part of the vibe. But I learned my lesson well with the last movement that I was part of, and I tried to lead from the back or in the confines of my comfort zone, where no one heard and saw me. And I think that was a mistake. I came publicly and apologized for that. I'm vowing never to do that again. So if people see me now, they should not complain, because it is me trying to remedy a mistake that I made by not putting my best foot forward where and when I could. We would have finished our message and setting the foundation for growth of the movement. I do not mind if other people take the message and run with it. But you see, in these very formative stages, Carlos, is important that we put out the right message and the right food. I'm not saying that you cannot do it and we win somebody else, but give us a chance, man. Within the next few weeks, maybe we should be okay. Everything would be out there, and we will put meat on the framework. So for those people who criticize or who question, it's an Alex party. Well, why not? I know it's not an Alex party because, Carlos, you know how we got started, because I was not interested or willing to do this. It took some really strong negotiations and discussions, and then I say, okay, well, guys, if we're going to do it, let's do it together. So we know the truth. We have to sell that truth to the public, that Alex is just advocating for Dominica, for what we think is necessary for the politics of the day, and Alex is certainly not after power grabbing or seeking his position himself. Alex wants for nothing right now, and Alex can survive without being the leader of any party and without being Prime Minister of Dominica. In fact, I make more money than the Prime Minister of Dominica as we speak. I don't understand how he's doing better than me, but I know I make more than him. So I do not really want anything per se, but to start a new political conversation. And it's going to take a while. We might look and appear to be unpopular for now, but later on, probably those who are criticizing us will realize what exactly we're working with. They may say, oh, we should have come on board and announced a full team of people and with a leader and everything. That was done with parties in the past. Probably we could have as well. But we chose not to. Because we're not dealing with the past, we're dealing with the present, and we're looking for the future. We think what we're doing now is the best approach. Put everything out there. No, nothing hiding. Sell what it is that we are selling, and then reap the benefits from what we are selling. So it does not always have to be the way people think it should be. Oh, when the other party came out 30-something years ago, they came in for a leader, they came in for a message, they came in for a symbol, they came in for a plan. Well, yes, we could have done that too, but we chose not to. Yes, we have a party. Yes, we have a symbol. Yes, we have a plan. Yes, we have a message. The team will come and will be presented when the team has to be presented. So we might be 2 years away from an election. It could be a few months away from an election. Power is a game that is played by people who understand how to play the game. And those people who really are demanding that we show all our cards right now, they will realize the beauty of our game when we decide to show our cards. No, we're not hiding behind anybody, but we will declare when we think the time is right. So in the interim, I will put up my hands and say, come at me as much as you're willing. There is nothing that you're going to get in my record which can be used against this party or this movement. Nothing negative. Nothing. So for those people who say, oh, it's an Alex thing, let them come with it. And just before I come back to you, Carlos, Dr. King was the messenger of the movement. And Dr. King, who else did you see but Dr. King when the movement was being presented?
I have a dream.
Yeah, how many people followed the dream after Dr. King? It was always Dr. King. Dr. King was the only one. They killed other people too, but when they took him down, they fingered the movement. They made his movement stronger. So I'm not comparing myself to Dr. King. I'm saying that if I'm heading the message now, it's me. When Dr. King was presenting his message, who was heading with him? He decided to take the bullet. Literally. So I am taking it, Carlos, because Dominica needs somebody like me at this time. And I'm not saying that I'm going to be prime minister. I'm not saying I'm not going to be prime minister. Who would want to be prime minister of their country? But I'm saying that is not my preoccupation right now. Right now, we're trying to connect to the young people, those people who are désolé about what those people who think that they are controlling the system are doing. They are the ones who are coming to me and asking me questions. One called me yesterday and asked me a question about our plan for the young people. Carlos, if you have a question about that, I'll be happy to answer.
That was where I was going to at the next juncture. I mean, we're still very much young, but in terms of the young people, a lot of them have been asking. I mean, what sort of plans? I mean, I give them an idea. What just a few evenings ago, myself and a young gentleman were in discussions on agriculture and how can we get it attractive for persons to get back. I mean, the current governing party is showing some interest in doing some work in the area. However, it's not at the level that we would like it to be. So how do we get it to that level? How do we attract persons into the livestock area, for example? How do we make poultry more affordable as comparable to importing the chickens from overseas? How do we get our bananas? What sort of produce do we look at? Long term, short term, that kind of thing. What are our plans for the young people? Those are the kind of things that people want to know. See, again, that's one of the things I've said in my early engagements with the community. The plan. What's the plan? Not how bad Dominica is. Dominica is a nice place. Dominica is a real place, contrary to popular view. Well, I don't think it's popular. Just
not popular.
It's just certain sector. Dominica is certain sector.
And there are people who are so misguided to repeat that crazy notion that Dominica is not a real place. And people are repeating that. So it really hurts me to hear people say those things. And I'm hoping that I dealt with this issue about me and the Alex party. It's not the Alex party. I see the newspaper releases, I see a second story now from a particular paper saying that Bruno launches, Bruno, and people are buying that. And they're looking here at Carlos. Listen to what happened. Bruno launched, and they're describing the Atlantic breeze, which Bruno hopes to sweep his movement into whatever. But they're not using the picture of the Atlantic breeze and the launching. They're using a picture of Bruno, where they put Bruno on an angle with his lovely kangaroo coal curls back and looking like maybe a radical youth or whatever it is.
A V-neck.
A stereotypical image of not what a politician is supposed to look like. And they're thinking that they are playing on the psyche of the Dominican people. But you don't do that, because you cannot try to defeat a commando at what a commando is best at. So here's what that has done. The people who like the rough approach and the jeunesse are saying, but that's good. The man looking like somebody that can fight for me, one of us.
You looking like us.
So the young people who with their little curls and their kango and their probably looks that are different are the ones who are gravitating towards that story. So I want to thank the media outlet for trying to look for pictures which are not stereotypically enduring to place off me, because there are people who like it, and those people are the people who I think who matters most in the politics of Dominica. So I thank the media outlet. Sometimes you try to hurt people by trying to, in a subtle way, do things. I mean, why present such a beautiful narrative, explain the mood, and you have pictures of the mood and not use the pictures of the mood, instead going back 15 years and get a picture. You see what I'm saying, Carlos? So these are little games that people play in politics that end up backfiring against individuals. And that's where we come to the young people. Because I was once a youth. I'm no longer a youth, because they say youth ends at 35. So I passed that. But when I was a youth, I didn't have the opportunity to do the things that I... No, you can claim that still, man. 60 can be youth too, is how you feel, eh? In fact, let me claim my youth, boy. I'm claiming my youth. So the question is, now that we dealt with the issue of me, let's deal with the youth. Because that is our fundamental, central pillar when it comes to the ideologies of our movement. Young people, us being empowered by them, not vice versa. And a young lady asked me a question this morning. Alex, I've been hearing so much and people trying to empower youth, and nobody's trying to be empowered by the youth. I say, well, that is our motto, we are empowered by the youth. And she told me what it is that you have in plan for the youth who are involved in vocation. I'm hearing people saying about scholarship in every home and academics, but Dominican youth are not just people who are interested in the, what is the means again? A while ago, not academics, in the theory.
Sure.
People who are practically people who are skill-based, people who are vocational. So then tell me one project that you can do for the young people, so I can tell somebody. I say, okay. One of the things that we're going to do is that we are going to create a 1,000 youth-strong National Guard. That's not the term we're going to eventually call it, but the youth are going to be the defenders of the nation. It's going to be a paramilitary organization where the youth, who some people have this card, who might not have the finesse that the status quo would like. Let's say those we call the vagabonds, the drug dealers, whatever it is. Those youth have energies that can be harnessed. And we think if we can collectively place them under a banner of guards and national defenders of our nation, register them, employ them, pay them, train them, and help them to harness their skills. Diving skills, scuba diving, masonry, carpentry, joinery, whatever vocational skills they bring to the table, gardening, manufacturing, business, because drug dealers are business people, very good business people. So we're transforming the business from drug dealing to more progressive engagement. So we're catering for all the so-called block boys, bad girls, whatever. We put them into a paramilitary organization, 1,000 strong, and we are training. The ex-defense forces who have paramilitary skills, we'll use them to help train the youths, to help to defend the boundaries of Dominica when the need arises. And to also serve as people who will go around helping to repair, maintain, refurbish those same wonderful buildings that our government is building and put in the hands of the people. Who's going to repair these buildings? At what cost? So we have a full-fledged program to employ 1,000 young Dominicans vocationally, train them with the basic combat training, get uniforms for them, whatever the case might be. Not police, not police at all. Just defenders of our nation. Have a wonderful headquarters for them, fully air conditioned, and have plots of land where they can cultivate, do plants, do animals, so they can feed themselves and operate as a team of young enterprising Dominicans actively engaged. And they're getting paid for it with allowances for housing and for transportation and all the respects and protection that they need. We think that takes care of the youth with the vocational interest. For the youth who are academically inclined, we'll offer non-usual scholarships in areas that the youth really want to do. Aeronautics, engineering, arts, horticulture, agriculture, farming. We as a government will provide scholarships in those areas on merit, not based on who we like or who like us or who we know or who we want to vote for us. No, any Dominican youth who is so qualified will get the attention and the assistance. So that takes care of the other side of the youth as well. For the young people who are involved in business, who are already involved in business, we will put them on a list of preferential treatment. People like Emo News, who is a youth who start a business, Carlo, youth start his business, the people who in the agro-processing, youths who start their business, will have a manifest of all those youth. And we as a government will invest in them and their business, not for returns or for votes, so that they could employ more people in their business to cause our economy to flow. And that is another area we're going to assist the youth. Agriculture, that belongs to the young people. Agriculture is not a past or has-been industry. It's a business of feeding the people.
Let me chime in there. When you say investing in the business of the young person, use two of us as examples. How does it differ from what is presently done now?
What is presently done now? Tell me.
Well, there's the NEP program at the government.
Oh, Carlos, my brother.
Hey, I have to ask.
My brother, you're going to compare NEP with which a short-term sort of standby part-time arrangement for something that we're going to make a policy, a national policy for progressive engagement of people who are entrepreneurs. No, you can't compare the two. No, we like the NEP, We think the NEP is a good program, but it's a step. It's a step program that people between the age, let's say 19, 20 to 22 should be involved with. They should not be professionals in NEP. It should be just a first step, short-lived program that should be kept, because we will keep NEP when we get into government. But it will be redesigned, we'll pay more money, and people on their little time off from the, I think there's a 2 months a year where they don't get paid. People on the NEP will get paid for 12 months, more than they're getting now, for a short period of time, and move on to more permanent jobs. We will try to make entrepreneurs from workers. So if NEP is a place to start, we will start today. But our goal will be eventually to create more entrepreneurs from that program. So it's night and day from what presently occurs to what we are trying to do with young people. We don't want to keep them on the NEP. They can start there for maybe 5 months, 6 months for the move. But with a plan for progress and promotion, converting their experience into an entrepreneurship, or probably further studies or whatever the case might be. Not only for degree or with qualification is going to come to be on the NEP program. No. That is just for the bare beginners. get you started. If you have a degree in Dominica and you have a zeal to work or to have a business, Team Unity will create the opportunity for you to have a business. Not through a beginning program called NEP. We don't think our people should restart after they have a 4-year college program. No. That's not how we're going to do it. But we'll keep NEP. We'll keep it. I think it's a good program. It's a good start. It's a beginner program, but it is too permanent now in the lives of some people as a beginner program. So that's the difference, Carlos, between what we plan to do and what is being done right now.
Right. So agriculture now.
So agriculture, our idea is to create at least 3,500 new posts for business individuals, not for farmers. Agribusiness. Most of them hopefully will be young Dominicans, and if we cannot get the numbers, we'll import the labor from overseas as temporary business people from different parts of Caribbean, St. Lucia, Martinique, and Haiti, wherever the people want to emigrate into Dominica to be involved as part of our agribusiness. We'll have that program to augment. We think we need at least 3,500 new farmers to change the economy of Dominica around. So we place the future of the common economy of our country in the hands of our youth. And we are going to do business in agriculture, because agriculture is the best business on earth. That's food business. Carlos, you can't go wrong in the business of food. People must eat. So the days when we did farming as a subsistence thing and as a older people thing, just a 2-hour a day thing, and then come back and go in the shop and drink and free up. No. We are going to agriculture as a business. The first thing we do is we look for lucrative regional and international markets. We make sure we have the market that's going to consume the stuff. We create the environment for young people to get into it by doing what? Saying every young Dominican, especially somebody coming from outside of a family setting and want to create their own family, we will give you the incentives to get a house. You're going to be a farmer, that comes with incentives to get a house. Not free. All the basic duty free that can be given, you'll get it. The accommodation for borrowing money and for the protection of the money that you borrow. Let's say you don't have the collateral, as a government will be saying, look, that is our role. Bank, work with us. Give the young people the money. We will be good for them in terms of giving them the markets for their products. They make money, they pay you, everybody happy at the end of it. So if you are a young person without the collateral, with a desire to do business, to get into, start a business in life, we will get you started. We think we have a vacancy for 4,500 farmers. If you want to be one of those, boom, it gets started for how? All the incentive you need with the collateral support and the transport as well, with all the collateral support. Who young person would want that kind of start? And then you sell your 10, 15, 20, 30 bags of that, 40 bags of Tanya, 300 bunches of plantain, 100 bags of yams, and make at least a $20,000 profit at the end of the month. I mean, isn't that something that anybody will be happy about? And it's not a situation where you are going to do it alone, because we said we're going to get numbers included in the farm business. You will have people working in the different fields, working in areas, and government will also put in the irrigation, the transportation, and everything that goes with making farming bling. So you will be like me, dressed up.
I like the word you use, bling. Make it attractive for the young people.
So you will dress up like me as the owner of your business and have your people working. You too will go on your farm with your boots or with your shoes and do your business. So farming is being seen as a thing of touch, stained clothes. That's not what agriculture is. The people who do agriculture in America and Brazil and other places, the business people, they're the ones who go negotiate for markets and negotiate deals while they have other people. So not everybody will be that. But you as the farmer, earning and owning the business, will be the person taking the shots. And there will always be people willing to work the farm. And we will get those people for you if we have to get them for you to help you. But as a young business Dominican, if you want to get into agriculture as a business, you can do it and make plenty money as the people in the Northeast were making when they were doing farming.
Otalasha.
Yeah, man. As a kind of business. So young people, that's it for you. Housing, your family development, and transportation. Plus roads to your farm. Land given to you for farming, not just to put a house and say, come and live there. And all the support that comes with it. I have not heard any other groups talking about giving that kind of support to young people, to get them involved in not just farming, because we spoke about vocational, we spoke about defense of the nation, we spoke about academics as well. And we can still speak about other things again. And here at Carlos, one of the things that we will do is that we will solve the housing problem in Dominica, not revolutionize it, solve it by placing those new apartments in the hands of the National Youth Council and the Youth Division with support and oversight from housing. But the young people will be controlling the management of the housing units, the apartment type housing units. And most people who occupy those units will be people who are first time, people who are beginning their families, are single people. And by the time they get married, they'll move on to their own lots and their own family-centric housing. Most people who are in those houses now will still occupy them if they need to occupy them, but managed by young people. So we are putting the growth of housing, we are putting the hope of our economy in the hands of our young people. We are empowering our young people. This party places at the center pillar young people at the heart of our development, Carlos. So I hope that answers the question of the young lady who I told listen to us today, and I hope it satisfies your question that you had for me about what we plan to do for young people. And I can speak for the entire hour about sports and other things that we plan to do for young people as well. But
you touch on the roads, because even in my family, my dad has a farm, and I can tell you, when before it was passed on to him by my dear late grandmother, I remember driving up to that farm with my sports car. I had a Toyota Celica. While I'm talking about that, just shout out Enrique, who is just giving us a shout out on the messages. And Robin, we come into your question in a short while. Thank you for tuning in. I remember I used to drive there with a car. You know, when I tell you a Toyota Celica, you know that is a sports car, a low car, and I was able to drive to a farm. So you know that was a good road. Right now, we have an old school patch road, and he uses to go to the farm. I had to make sure that I engage the four-wheel drive to go up there, and it touches in certain areas. So the ordinary person who doesn't have a four-wheel drive vehicle, which may be a little more expensive to get, and especially if you're not getting the support from government to get a duty-free, for example, they're going to have a lot of difficulties to get to their farms. I see guys, the distances they have to walk. That I just
No, so we are going to make the roads accessible. The farm roads will be very beautifully paved and lit as well. But that is the road to progress and sustenance and economic revival. We can't depend on the only strand that we have now for our economy, passports. We have to go back to farming and agriculture. People say, oh, that is a has-been. No, it is the future industry. Dominica is an agricultural nation. We can do other things, you know. We can make spare parts for aircrafts and so and sell as well. And bike shops and so on. And boat shops and so on. But the heartbeat of our country is agriculture. And our economy will be based on agriculture. We will pave all the roads. Carlos, people ask, where are you going to get the money? Where are they getting money to build health centers and apartments all around Dominica? Well, the same way whoever is using to get the money to do it, we will do it to big up our farms, put in irrigation systems where we need to, and give the people who are going to operate the farms all the incentives. My God, if an investor for a housing project can get, why can't a farmer or somebody in agriculture? It's going to cost us less to do so anyway. So that is what we're going to do. And the people who want to be and live on their farms will get a house on their farm as well. The satellite, the solar water heater, and solar electricity. So people can relax on their farm. Farming is a glorious task. There are people in America and Australia who live on their farms. So we're going to break that tradition, that old taboo of the farm is a place you go and you're tired and you get wet and you come down. No, you have a nice ravine, take a bath in the river, put your perfume on, you chill out in your farm, sleep if you have to, spend a vacation on your farm with your family, do some work, and then you can come back on some other time. That is what we intend to do for young people, for agriculture. We're going to make this thing a bringing thing because we have to transform the way in which we make money in Dominica.
If you look on the screen, you'll see a question from one of our viewers, Bill Robin. He wants us to talk about the housing program on the Team Unity. And do we think that it should include the diaspora, not for free, but paying for the house?
Okay, yes. So our housing program
we mentioned in the
budget.
Budget a few weeks ago.
Okay, our housing program will cater for all, not just people under 45. Again, I'm saying that because I heard that being promoted by our country, by our government, and I was disappointed. Everybody who needs a house, especially if you're a first-time homeowner, will be considered for all the assistance and support that we need. And we will not build apartments and say, look, buy it from us, through us, and get the money from. No. Our preference would be is for people to have their houses built on the lands that belong to them or lands they have access to, lands they lease, and we will also lease government land to individuals as well, or sell government land to individuals in areas so that they could have their own building based on their own aesthetics, their own design, their own style, with their own colors. Dominica is a tropical country. We are a country of colors and designs. So that one type of design of apartments or building or accommodation is not a Dominican thing. It's a new thing we're trying to revolutionize in our country, which will not go very far. So our policy is not just to make the amenities available for people under 45, but for all Dominicans from 19 to 99 who have not yet had a house. You will get all the support to earn a house with the protection of the government, support for funding, and all the necessary assistance that goes with it. And no, it will not be a free house. It will not be a house that you cannot afford. If you are working at a job and you're making $1,000 a month, probably you might be required to pay $30 for the house a month. But you have to pay something. Nobody will receive anything for free under a TUD government. Look, it's free. Anytime somebody gives you that for free, it means that you are paying more for it than you actually paid for it. That's what I'm trying to say. Those who really do not have the means will get stuff under our social welfare program, not managed by politicians, by technocrats. So yes, if you cannot afford, you will be taken care of, but it's not free. Somebody in the public sector will be sponsoring or financing the things that you get. We will make it possible for that to happen, and we'll give them tax breaks for the assistance that they give to all needy people, because there is nothing at all free on earth. So we cannot fool our people and say it is free, it is free, it is free. Because at the end of the day, somebody pays. And currently, those who are getting free things, Carlos, do you know who's paying for those things that they're getting for free?
They themselves.
They themselves. Their loyalty to the people who give it to them, to keep them in power and make them very, very, very wealthy for 20 years, going on 25. So you actually pay more for something that is free when you get it for free. Our approach is we are moving away from the free gun, the freeness mentality. You pay based on what you can. So if you're making, as I say, $1,000, you shouldn't pay more than $30, $40. That's what you can afford to pay. And then you can live comfortably with dignity, knowing that your sweat of your brow is going towards your living. Not any politician telling you, oh, I see you talking to that person. If you talk to them, no, remember who give you the house. Change ki moun ki ba en cas la. Di moun la te we pay you aso mash ki moun. You cannot do that to our people. That's not what we're going to do. So that is our housing project in a nutshell, Earl. And we will of course speak about a lot more about it in the future. But we are not restricting our program to people under 45. 19 to 99 first-time homeowners, including people in the diaspora. If you work in the diaspora and you're making money, you're not going to be treated differently when you come down to build your house. No, you get the same benefits and you can build. And you can gift the house to somebody else if you wish to. But we are not going to treat you indifferent and say that you're in diaspora, you can afford more. We're going to treat you equally.
As a matter of fact, the diaspora should be treated better to encourage them to come back home. Come back and contribute to the development of your country. Not that you want to segregate your people, but you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, we have a program for the diaspora for people who want to invest. So you see the same way that people who are investing in Dominica are getting the passports to sell and getting protection. We're going to give the Dominicans who are planning to return home that kind of incentive to invest in sports, in agriculture, in tourism, and I think in future technologies. So if Dominicans
that's part of
IT. So if Dominicans are willing to come back to invest in that in Dominica, we give you all the incentives and you can become super wealthy with your investment. The same way people are investing in housing or whatever in Dominica. We don't think Dominica is a retirement country. Most people, you hear them say, well, I want to come back to Dominica when I retire. No, we want you to come back now. You come back and be a professor with Dr. Peters at the college or with Simone at the University of the West Indies. We want you to come back to contribute actively, not to retire. We want you to come back once a year for Carnival and for Creole Fest and say, boy, I had a good time in Dominica. How do you think Dominica had to know, boy? Boy, I had fun. No, we want you to be in Dominica, live there, spend time to develop our country. Dominica is not a retirement country. We want to change that notion from the people.
I see one of our doctors has started a new university. Dr. Ferrara started the St. Joseph University, I think it's called. Yeah, all these are areas that persons overseas can come back and say, get a job in those areas. Push those.
Dr. Ferrara, who has been hinting his interest in doing business from medicine, business, and I'm not too sure that he has received the best support, that he should. We will help him. We hope we can get into office before he changes his mind about the business, but we will give Dr. Ferrara all the support that he needs to get into the business. He's a prototype in the Caribbean, in the world, as a gynecologist and surgeon. And we will give him the support so he can employ 20 people, maybe, 20 doctors and another 100 people to work with those doctors. So that is where we are. And people like Dr. Dangleben, who has been begging to invest and to give back, we will open the door. We'll embrace Dr. Dangleben and other such professionals. You don't hold people back because you don't like their politics. No, I don't care about your politics. Man. Come and take care of our people and be good. So if Dr. Dangleben would want to come back, I've heard him speak about what he wanted to do, and I have no problems with those things. As part of our policy-making team of our movement, he will be one of the first people we will go to and say, tell us what you want. And come. And other people like that, including those people who are on the grounds and doing their stuff, Dr. Wallace and all those other doctors who are trying to expand their business, Dr. Etienne, Dr. Ricketts. We will give them the help to develop on the ophthalmology and so on.
As well as embracing the young ones who want to come in to the various sectors.
Yeah, we're just going to free up the country to the people, man. Some people have the country hold on as it is their business and choosing who they give things to. The people who are selling passport now and who are doing citizenship by investment, we're not going to target them. They're going to continue doing what they're doing. But we'll streamline the program, make sure that it is lean and thin and it is healthy, and we'll get other people involved if we have to. We will not only depend on that, however, but if it's good for one, it's good for others. So those people who are making money now should not feel bad or feel afraid. We're not going to target you. We just want more people to make money. And that is what our plan is about, Carlos. Very, very simple. I think I've only answered 2 questions, my dear brother. I'm sorry, but when you get me started, I have to go.
And we have the 49-minute mark before our program. So we cannot stop. We gotta keep the vibe flowing. But in terms of well, you touch on it. You did agriculture. You did youth. You we, we need to go into the broader topic of employment.
Yeah, so employment would, again, for people to work, they must be employed. And for people to employ, there must be jobs. And for there to be jobs, there must be the environment that can provide and to commission these jobs. Right now, it's difficult to create new jobs in Dominica because of the sluggishness of the economy. Carlos, banks are leaving Dominica in droves.
I was surprised. We only have one bank just now. Then we only have one bank. So what's going to happen to the credit unions?
Well, credit unions either are going to have to change their designation or be forced to change their designation from cooperative to commercial. Remember, I told you that. And if that happens to the credit union, the movement dies. The spirit of cooperativism dies. And I suspect that's what's going to happen.
And
This
it's already
system,
weak right now.
yeah, the system is going to be so hard pressed that they're going to tell the community credit union, we have to change terms of operation. And then if they put the credit union in that frame, they're not going to be able to compete in terms of the correspondent banking and all what is necessary to compete at that level. Already they are hard pressed. Because to have one commercial bank almost existing in the country is like depending on one source of revenue for your economic survival.
Do we know why these banks are leaving, or are we guessing?
I will not commit myself to saying what I was told. I still have to do some more research on that. But a banker called me this morning. I say, Alex, what are we doing? What are we doing? How are we going to rescue our country? I wouldn't give more clues to the person. But I got a call today, Carlos, from someone you would not imagine, who informed me and educated me on the detriment of having those banks leave. And probably the only bank that is remaining, the National Bank of Dominica, probably not having the kind of a strength in terms of correspondent banking as they should have. Correspondent banking is how you get money in and out of the
One
country.
country to another.
Yes. So the man is telling me, Alex, it looks bleak. Do you know what you want to get involved to do, my brother? The bank is leaving. Something is wrong. Not just with the economy, with the entire system. Today I got a call. So Carlos, I am hopefully going to invite this gentleman, I hope he joins us, to come here and to talk about the problem. You know, we don't like talking about problem, we talk about solution, but we have to frame the problem before we talk about the
To
solution.
the solution. We have to identify the issues and then talk about the plan.
Yeah.
Macpherson already just brought up a question that we should touch on before we leave, but our time is short. What about government owning a few farms and employing individuals, especially young farmers, produce that can be exported or sold locally?
No, we don't believe in government owning farms for production. We believe in people owning farms and government giving the incentives for people to create and make a lot of money. When government own the farms, you can start to feel that government will always have a preference, either one way or the other, and you know who's going to get the deals. It's always the people who the government deal with, or the people who control the government deal with. We think that farming should be a private sector undertaking. Government can own aspect of farming, like the propagation center, where my father was a propagator. If you look at the grafted mango trees and the red sweet oranges and the grapefruit, these were species of plants of fruits that were made from standard fruits. And my father was a propagator. May he rest in peace.
My
So they were,
dad seems to enjoy doing that as well.
right. So there were propagation centers in Longhouse, Londonderry, Woodford Hill, those places, they call them center. And that's what they did. They created grafted and wonderful plants. So the government can own that. And you can supply plants to the people. But I think the commercial holding of agriculture should be in the private sector control. And the government should give full support. as opposed to what the caller is saying. So we understand what the caller is saying, but we would do it a different way.
And he's agreeing with you how you're saying it.
Yeah. So people who own those farms now can make a lot of money. There's nothing wrong in people making millions and millions and millions of dollars. That's what we want to do. Have people making au talent. Carlos, if anybody who is balanced enough listen to our program today, they'll understand that we have a plan and we're ready to lead. And that's not idle plans, and that's plans we have in black and white, waiting to be implemented as soon as we get into government. We are ready, Carlos. That's no joke, no gimmick. And we have what it takes. We just need to put money in the hands of our people, and our people will fix the country. No government can fix Dominica. The people have to fix Dominica. So from day one, we are ready to start putting money in Dominicans' hands, and our people will embrace the opportunity and fix our country. That's what we want.
Alex, we're at the 55-minute mark. It's already 4 o'clock. We should look at winding down.
All right. Well, let me say thanks, Carlos. Again, we did not get a chance to touch on a quarter of the things that we plan to discuss. We chose to pepper me with questions that to answer the question and to be totally transparent to the people. And I hope that the individuals who say, oh, probably so much of Alex would understand why there is a lot of Alex. Because if we had 10 people on the program right now, we would be diffusing all the information through different people. At the time, you have to focus on the message. And I think the way it is happening now, it is working best. And those other messengers who will be messaging will build from that platform that we are putting down. If you think that you have heard enough of me, you have not begun. Bob Marley say, they may go tired to see me face. Can't get me out of the race. I have a message. 20 plus years boiling up inside of things that we can do better. Differently. And I'm not going to stop now in the face of 1 or 2 people saying, oh, is Alex alone then? Well, to avoid it being me alone, step up with me now and come with us on Sunday and say I'm in it, because our program is legit. Stop hiding behind and throwing words and saying, well, how much of all of that then? Everybody bat up already. I want to bat, but I want to know how much we pat up already. No! Come on, bat, man. Let's open the batting. There's the music. So the people who are going to come to bat later on will have an easy ball to negotiate. So I am opening, I'm facing the fire. And I'm trying to take the gloss off the ball. So those of you who are waiting in the slips to come in will get an easier pace ball to negotiate. So Carlos, I use a cricket analogy to say that I'm going to be here every Sunday as much as my health and the Almighty grants me the ability to so do, to push what we have planned. Because if you don't sell your plan properly, you don't have a chance of doing it again.
You have two comments there that I don't want us to go before we address them.
Yeah, and that's the only chance, Carlos, you have to make a first impression, is the first chance. So they might say, probably, well, let me just see what they might say. We are putting out our first impression every other Sunday, not just one Sunday. So our launching was just a formality. But every other day after that, we are coming. We are coming. We are coming. Yes, Carlos, what you have?
Yeah, for one, you can touch on the agriculture a little bit. Macpherson wants to say that based on what he has seen, there's a lot of interest in agriculture. What are we going to do to motivate people to go back into farming? And from what we have been saying, these are some of the ways that we plan to motivate persons to get back into farming. But I would allow you to just touch on that quickly before you come on.
We said it, maybe Macpherson wasn't listening, man. All the incentives we're going to create for people who are going to come into it, like giving them all the assistance and the necessary conveniences for building houses or their home and for acquiring transportation. So if you, as a young person, going to want to get into farming, we will make it very lucrative for you. We will give you all the allowances duty free that you need for building material on your house, and also for the purchase of your vehicle, and will provide ready markets to engulf all the produce that you're going to sell. And we will provide assistance for acquiring land and input for maintaining your crops. All you need to do is to just have your design to produce and to sell, and you will make money. There can be no other incentive but making money that we can offer young farmers, and not just some money, plenty money. Otalaja. So we spoke about that earlier in McPherson, and that is some of the incentives that we will do. We will not, of course, see everything because we have opponents who are paying attention to everything that we see. But if that is not exciting you as yet, as a young farmer, I think we need to talk personally one-on-one. But the opportunity to make plenty money, housing, transportation, market, that is what farming actually is driven by.
And we have a comment from Earl Robin. If you can see, it takes money to run a campaign. Are you going to construct a donor list of Dominicans in the diaspora to support?
Well, we don't have a list, but we're expecting that the diaspora, Dominicans and Dominicans at home, will continue to support us. We have been getting support. And Carlos, it tickles me sometimes to tell the people who are actually supporting us, but we cannot. Because the people who are supporting saying, well, guys, you know how it is. We don't really want to there. We like what you're doing. As long as Alex and Carlos and Erwin in something, I will give you the support. So we have people who are supporting. It takes a lot of money, but we expect to be able to raise all the money that we need to finance our campaign sufficiently to get us into government. We do not need millions and millions and millions and millions. I think if we have right now $100,000 US, that should be able to help us to negotiate our way, to see our way clearly in terms of winning the amount of seats that we need to get it enough. With $1 million US, we almost guaranteed to do all the programs that we think we would like to do today. So we are not hiding about the money we need, and we know that the Dominican public will support our cause. We have not even been asking for money as yet, and we've been getting money. But we will be putting together a very active campaign fundraising agenda in the diaspora and in Dominica, and asking people to support our campaign. And we're going to publish the cost of our campaign. We're going to hide it. We're going to show you the breakdown for our campaign and what we think we're going to spend on the campaign. And when we get into office, we're going to finance the campaign for all the parties as a central government. And we're going to put in place campaign finance reform so people can just go and get hundreds and thousands of dollars from friends. So we will give you, each party, bona fide party, a standard amount of money that we think you should need to run a campaign. With $1 million each. And if you're going to raise money, you can raise money, but there must be rules of raising those money. You have to disclose who you get the money from. The money must be legit, and it can't be beyond a certain amount. So it must be equal for everybody. That's one of the things that we will do as a government. And that is a guarantee. We'll also give equal time to the opposition parties on the radio. DBS will have standard platforms for the opposition leader, for them to come and talk about their plans. Equally on GIS as well. So these are the things that we're going to do, Carlos. This is how we're going to clean up the political business of our country. We're going to clean it up. So we will declare our budget for campaigning and how we intend to finance it and where we get the money from, if we have to. If we have. So we're not going to hide behind that. The days when people would spend 30, 40 million US dollars on a campaign just to ensure that they win, those days are over with you. You don't need to spend so much money going to serve people as their servants. It's your own business then. Is the government of Dominica is not your business? It's the people's thing. You're spending $60,000 on a campaign in Dominica?
60,000, you said?
Sorry, million, I mean, million.
Okay.
Million, sorry.
Yeah, well, let's call it a day. We done past the hour mark. I know folks are eager to hear what we have to say, but we are still here. We're within reach. just reach out to Alex is within reach. Send Alex a message, myself, or even the Team Unity platform. We respond there as well, and we'll be happy to engage you even personally to hear your ideas, your discussions, and you can get from us where our head is at in terms of what we're looking for Dominica. Alex, I'll leave the last words to you.
Well, thank you, Carlos. And you realize we do not talk about other parties. We don't talk about things that has happened in the past. We're talking about what we want to do in the future. That is how progressive politics is done. No mepri, no scandal, no slander. We have a bias for progress. We want to move Dominica forward. First of all, by being empowered by the young people, and by the people who are not too young as well, by Dominicans in general. We want to transform Dominica's economy from an over-reliance on passport sales to agriculture. We want to put money in people's hands, or talent. Every Dominican should be a wealthy person. Every Dominican should be being going. Every Dominican should be living large. We have what it takes. But some are just too selfish to allow that to be the case. Guess how many people do we have living in Dominica? Less than 100,000 people on a land that is so rich with water and food. Agriculture is the lifeline of the world, and our people in the agricultural basket of the world cannot all be bringing. We are going to fix this. Give us one term in office, and we are going to show where we're going to go. By the end of the second term in office, consecutive term in office, Dominica would be on a trajectory to great progress. And anybody who comes after it will continue that blueprint. We don't even have to remain in office for longer than that. Why should anybody want to remain in office for so long anyway?
I myself want to continue focusing on my business, my family, and so on.
Yeah, man. Go back to take care of your family business and let the country run. It's not your government. It's the people's government. Spend a little time and move on. You can't hug the thing as if it's yours. 20 years, Carlos. And people don't have a problem with that, some people. So that is where we are. Carlos, I'm happy that you had me on today. As you can see, I have so much of energy left in me. So people who are saying that it's an Alex party, tell them, look, Alex has a lot to say and do. But we're still looking forward to having them join. Join now. But if they join too late, it might not work best for them. It might not work best for them. Best they get involved now to be part of the little rocky road. So when we start sailing, they will be sailing in the cockpit in the first class. Because in politics, to Carlos, sometimes certain things happen in politics and we can't avoid it. We do not expect to come and jump on board late and expect to be in first class when the smooth sailing would have been there and the rough waters would have been navigated by some. So I'm not promising to victimize, but in life, to whom much is given, much is expected. So Carlos, you and I, anyway, leave that alone. See you next week Sunday. Let me pick up Erwin, Kenty, and Kendra. 3 of our soldiers who are not here today. We love you. We will link up with you again at our usual meeting, and we will see you live when we have to be live again next week Sunday. In the meantime, we love you, Dominica. Let's come together in unity and strength. We're free, Carlos.
Pong them elbow.